I was married for 10 years. 10 years of waking up beside someone who felt like a stranger. 10 years of silence disguised as peace. 10 years of slowly forgetting who I was. People often ask me why I stayed so long. They assume it was weakness, but they never ask how much strength it took to survive. This is my story, not for pity, but so another woman doesn't suffer quietly the way I did. I grew up believing marriage was safety. I believed love meant endurance. I believed patience was proof of character. When he came into my life, he felt stable. Not expressive, but calm. Not romantic, but reliable. I mistook emotional distance for maturity. Our wedding day was beautiful. Smiles. Photos. Congratulations. No one saw the silence waiting for me. After marriage, things changed quietly. He stopped asking questions. Stopped listening fully. Stopped sharing himself. At first, I excused it. He's tired. He's stressed. He'll open up later. Later never came. I became the only one trying to connect. Days passed without affection. Weeks passed without meaningful conversation. I learned to eat alone, sleep alone, cry alone. Yet I was married. That contradiction slowly destroyed me. Somewhere along the way, I stopped expecting anything from him. Expectations only brought disappointment, so I learned to survive without them. I woke up early every day, not because I wanted to, but because sleep became my only escape, and waking meant facing reality again. I moved through my routines quietly, like someone afraid to disturb the air. I noticed that when I stopped talking, he didn't notice. When I stopped complaining, he felt relieved. When I stopped asking questions, the house felt more peaceful to him. That was when I realized something painful. My silence made his life easier. I started questioning my own needs. Was I too emotional? Too sensitive? Too needy? Society teaches women to endure. It praises patience. It glorifies sacrifice. So I told myself this was what marriage looked like. I compared myself to other women, women who laughed freely, who spoke confidently, who looked alive. I wondered what they had that I didn't. I wondered what I had lost. There were days I stood in front of the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. My eyes looked tired. My smile felt forced. I dressed not to express myself, but to disappear. I remember one particular evening. He came home late.
No explanación. No apology.
Just silence. I asked one simple question. Is everything okay? He looked at me like I was an inconvenience. That look stayed with me for years. From that day, I learned to ask fewer questions. I learned that curiosity was dangerous. Wanting clarity was interpreted as disrespect. Wanting emotional connection was seen as weakness. Slowly, fear replaced love. I became careful with my tone, careful with my words, careful with my emotions. I tiptoed around his moods like a child afraid of punishment. And the most painful part? I convinced myself this was normal. Then came the comparisons. He never directly insulted me. Instead, he praised other women in ways that made me feel small. He spoke about their intelligence, their calmness, their beauty. Sometimes it was subtle. Sometimes it was deliberate. Each comparison was a reminder that I was replaceable. I started trying harder. I cooked better meals. I dressed differently. I stayed quiet even when I was hurting. I thought if I became perfect, he would finally see me. But perfection only made me invisible faster. The first time I suspected betrayal, my body knew before my mind accepted it. The distance grew wider. His phone became guarded. His attention shifted elsewhere. I told myself I was imagining things. I didn't want to become that wife. The suspicious one. The insecure one. But truth has a way of surfacing. The day I found the messages, my hands shook so badly I had to sit down. It felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. My heart raced, not from shock, but from confirmation. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't insecure. I wasn't imagining things. I confronted him gently,
Carefully.
as if I was the one who had done something wrong. He didn't deny it. Instead, he explained.
He told me I had changed.
that I wasn't supportive enough, that I didn't make him feel appreciated, that he felt lonely. Lonely. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask how someone could feel lonely while being emotionally absent for years. But instead, I cried. And then I apologized. Yes. I apologized for his betrayal. That was the moment I lost something inside me. Even after that, I stayed. I stayed because I believed marriages survived storms. I stayed because I feared being judged. I stayed because I didn't know who I was without him. Days turned into months. Months into years. The betrayal didn't end. It evolved. It became emotional distance, secrecy, manipulation. Gaslighting became normal. Whenever I expressed pain, I was told I was overreacting.
We stopped fighting. Not because things were better, but because I got tired. Silence became safer than arguments. That's when I realized a quiet marriage can still be broken.
You are allowed to leave situations that destroy you. You are allowed to choose yourself. And one day, you will look back, not with regret, but with gratitude that you survived. After the divorce, silence returned, but this time, it was different. It was no longer the silence of neglect. It was the silence of healing. At first, I didn't know what to do with it. I had lived so long in emotional chaos that peace felt unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. I would sit alone and wait for the anxiety to arrive, but sometimes it didn't. That confused me. I realized how deeply conditioned I had been to emotional pain. My body expected stress. My mind expected rejection. My heart expected disappointment.
Healing is strange like that.
It forces you to confront who you are without suffering. I had to rebuild myself from the ground up. I started by doing small things. I ate when I was hungry, not when it was convenient for someone else. I slept when I was tired, not when silence told me to. I spoke out loud, even when no one was listening, just to hear my own voice again. I cried a lot. Some days, for no clear reason. Other days, because memories resurfaced without warning. Healing doesn't move in a straight line. Some days you feel strong. Other days, you feel broken again. And that's okay. I learned to forgive myself for staying so long. I learned to stop asking why he didn't love me the way I needed. I learned that someone else's inability to love is not a reflection of my worth. Slowly, I began remembering who I was before marriage defined me. I remembered my laughter, my opinions, my dreams. For years, I had lived in survival mode. Now, I had to learn how to live again. There were moments of loneliness, real loneliness. The kind that comes when you're truly alone, not emotionally abandoned. But even that loneliness felt honest.
Clean.
It didn't drain me the way my marriage had. I met people who listened to me, people who valued my words, people who didn't make me feel like I had to earn basic respect. That was when it truly hit me. Love is not supposed to be painful all the time. I stopped romanticizing endurance. I stopped glorifying sacrifice. I stopped believing that staying silent made me virtuous. I started believing that peace was my responsibility. There were moments of anger too. Anger for the years wasted. Anger for the younger version of me who thought suffering was normal. Anger for all the warnings I ignored. But anger passed. What remained was clarity. I now understand that emotional abuse doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like neglect, like silence, like indifference, like being made to feel invisible. And invisibility can destroy a woman slowly. If I could speak to the woman I was 10 years ago, I would tell her this. You are not asking for too much. You are not difficult. You are not weak for wanting love. You are human. To the woman listening right now, especially the one sitting quietly, questioning herself, wondering if she's the problem, I want you to hear me clearly. Love should not make you disappear. Marriage should not make you smaller. Commitment should not cost you your identity. If you are staying out of fear, know that fear is not a foundation for love. If you are staying because of shame, know that shame thrives in silence. If you are staying because you hope things will change, ask yourself how long you are willing to wait. Leaving does not make you a failure. Choosing yourself does not make you selfish. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is walk away. Today, I live differently. I speak openly. I set boundaries. I choose peace, even when it's lonely. Especially when it's lonely. My life is not perfect. Healing did not erase all the scars. But my scars no longer control me. I survived. And so can you. If this story reached you, then it was meant for you. If it stirred something inside you, listen to that voice. If it made you uncomfortable, ask yourself why. You deserve a life where your presence is felt. You deserve love that feels safe. You deserve to exist fully. And if no one has told you this before, you are enough. You always were.
If you can relate, comment Broken Heart and follow to hear the full story.